there getting some run at linebacker. I know you probably didn't enjoy waiting last year for a turn.
I'm glad I did have to wait because I need to learn the defense and just kind of I feel like that humble experience. So I'm glad I went through it, but it do feel good to be out there flying around.
How would you evaluate these first couple games out there?
I feel like my first game I was kind of a little nervous, my first start, and then I feel like I played better my second game. So just trying to get better each week.
We heard a lot of I don't know, speculation or conversation about where the best place for you to play was. If you could go to the outside, you should stick in the middle. Have there been a lot of conversations like that within the team, or what has it been like to try and find the right spot for you?
I just play where they tell me.
How different are the responsibilities, though, if you're for being outside or being at Mike? How big of a deal is it?
I mean, at Mike, you gotta get yourself lined up as well as everybody else, and you gotta make all the checks, the calls, get the D-line set. So it's more of a responsibility versus just being outside and getting a call and worry about your job. You gotta take care of everybody.
Obviously, you're gonna do whatever the coaches tell you to do to help the team. But if they said to you, you pick, where do you want to play? What would you pick?
Just far as right now, I say Mike because that's what I've been just focusing on since I've been here. So I know that better than the outside right now. So I'll just stick with that.
And considering it was your first start and you had to make the calls, how do you think you did with that part of it?
I think I did real good. I don't think I missed set the front any, so I think I did a real good job at that.
You had to battle with Justin in camp. What do you think are the things you did that ultimately enabled you to win that starting job?
That's a question for the coaches.
What's your weight right now?
Wait, 242.
242. Because Shiana the other day was saying Barron running in space, right? Big guy running.
Yeah.
How would you describe maybe your ability to chase guys down in the open field and to have that kind of speed in space at your size?
God given, I guess. I can't get nobody credit except God, so I'm just using the abilities He blessed me with.
Do you feel that though? Do you feel like that's one of the things you do well, is track guys down? And
I mean, yeah, for my size, I think I move pretty well.
Barry, did you get a sense from the first game you guys gave up the 2 long running plays to the second game where you only give up the field goal? What were some of the things that you really honed in on, really worked on, improved upon from week 1 to week 2 to where those big plays didn't happen?
We just talked about it as a defense, just everybody doing that job, because if one person doesn't do that job, then of course that exposes the defense. So just everybody doing their job and everybody finishing, running to the ball, even if you think somebody else is going to make the tackle, just finishing the play to the whistle.
Do you think those plays against Oregon State were just kind of what happens when you have younger guys that maybe haven't got the experience or whatever, that they're going to catch you one time on something like that, and then you learn from it and it doesn't happen again? Is that how you hope it goes, I guess, or what do you think?
I think it's more so just what Coach Sean will say when one person doesn't do that job and somebody else tries to do that job for them, and then it just leaves a void. So just everybody just needs to do their job and focus on their job only.
What have you seen so far when you've been scouting TCU?
I mean, I know the quarterback pretty well, Sean. He's real close in high school, so I mean, I know he can run, he can throw, and I know they got two good running backs and some fast receivers and a good O-line. So we just really focus on going 3-0.
Did you ever face him in high school?
No, I did not.
What stands about the Turpin kid? The kid took the punt back last week and also had the long touchdown catch and run. What stands out about him from your vantage point, Baron?
I mean, he's pretty fast. He's real athletic, real shifty. So we just got to get him down.
He's a little guy too. Is it sometimes hard to keep up with a little guy? I mean, you know what I mean, from a shifty standpoint. I mean, what's the advantage, I guess, of being a little guy on the football field sometimes?
Just, I guess, being a little bit more quicker and then bigger guys, and just using that to your advantage, setting them up to just beat them.
Why were you and Sean tight if you didn't play him against him? How'd you get them? Just recruiting camps?
Because he's from Fort Worth, where I'm from.
Okay.
And then just recruiting too.
Okay.
Who's been playing those two as a scout team? Who's been Sean and who's been Turpin in the scout team?
I mean, today was our first day of doing this, so I really can't tell you. I was trying to focus on doing my job.
Okay.
How different is the prep when you're getting ready to face a quarterback like Sean that can move around a little bit, as opposed to the last couple of weeks? You guys, inexperienced linebackers, how different is that for you this week?
Just knowing you can't just sleep on him, basically. You can't forget about him. He can run, probably better running quarterbacks we're going to see maybe this season. So we just got to keep our eyes on him at all times. We can't forget about him.
Well, you've been head-to-head with J.K. Dobbins a few times this preseason and practice and stuff. What is different about his game compared to a year ago from what you've seen, or what do you see that kind of stood out about him?
I mean, I feel like that's hard for me to say because I'm a defensive player. I mean,
but you see him making moves. You see him adjusting, etc. Well, what do you see about him?
I mean, down here, runner, just like Mike. I mean, both our backs really good, and they push each other. So.
Last couple.
Hey, Baron.
Here with Bill.
How helpful has Tough been, and all the linebackers, I guess, but especially Tough?
I mean, we all, help each other. We all know, like, some things better than others, and we just all communicate and just try to help. Like, if he's in or if I'm in, he's watching me, I'm watching him, and we just correct one another. Just positive feedback from one another. I mean, we're a brotherhood, so we just always helping each other.
What have the coaches told you guys about how this rotation between you guys is going to continue to work as the season progresses?
They haven't said much about it, just follow their orders, basically.
For you personally, what do you feel like are the biggest ways in which you've improved since you've gotten on campus to where you are right now?
Just understanding our defense and how I fit in it, especially at Mike. Just from being an outside linebacker in high school, coming into being a middle linebacker, just learning how there's more things I have to do and a different personality I have to have in doing it.
What are the biggest things that you have to do to make that successful transition from being an outside guy to a middle guy?
Just being loud and knowing I gotta, get everybody set and make all the calls, and I can't be wrong. And even if I am wrong, be loud with it.
Was that something you had to watch Borland do to kind of get an idea of what was expected in the middle?
I mean, I was watching, Chris Worley, guys like that, Tough, Raekwon. I was watching them, the guys before me, and getting advice from the older guys that come back around, like Bobby, So yeah.
So Baron, we know you're going to do whatever the coaches decide for you guys to do. But what can be good for Ohio State about having both you and Tough as guys who can play the mic?
I mean, our room in general, we have a lot of talented linebackers, so it's going to be a big rotation from inside to outside. We just got a lot of guys who can play, so we're just going to keep them rotating them in.